Good evening, good evening, good
So the
evening.
United Nations, the president of
Good evening in the US and good morning in Liberia, wherever you're watching this show from. This is the Rahim Show coming to you live. And I'm your host, Rackie Allie. And as you can see on the screen, we are going to be discussing what do we expect of the inauguration on Monday from the elected president, Joseph Yuma Bwaka. The Liberian people have suffered a lot and want to see the life being better. So join me, hit the like button, share the podcast, and make some comment as we move along. But if you want to come live on the stream, just send me a message. I can send you an invite so you can be part of the show. So I will first start, with something that growing up as a child, when I was in school, we were told, when we were in middle school or so, we're told that the main purpose of the government is to use the available resources the country has to meet the public need. So a lot of my colleagues were kind of confused, you know, and they begin to ask question, what do you mean by meet the public need? Does it mean that the president will provide money for our packet, or the president will provide like food if we want to eat? You know, I mean, people were just out of curiosity. People were just wanted to they wanted to know They wanted to just find out the truth, about why, government. The main purpose of the government is to meet, to use the available resources to meet the public need. And I mean, anyone who be in the same state of mind to ask such a question because you want to learn something. So, but later on, we realized that it's not about government providing money, in your pocket or providing rights to your door. No, it's it's more, beyond that. You know, so if you are joining the show, this is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Hit the like button, share the podcast, make some comment. If you want to come live to share your perspective, as you can see, the topic is on the screen. We have an inauguration that is expected on Monday, and we have, for me, with high, optimism that the president is going to deliver. And one of the key issue as we move along is the issue of corruption. Once you can tackle corruption, and once people are formed, if you have measure in places to penalize people who are formed with corruption, I tell you, you will make Liberia a better place. But I don't want to jump, into. We have to, do an introduction to what we're about to say and then move along. But if you, I just joined the podcast, this is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. If you will hit the like button, share your comment, and be a part of the show. If you want to be a part of the show also and come live, send me a message and I will send you an invite. So, as I was saying, growing up, we all had the, we all learned in high school, in middle school, that, oh, what is the main purpose of the government? Main purpose is to use the available resources to meet the public need. So, like I said, most of my colleagues were kind of, confused about why is it that the government, main purpose is to meet our need, and then we are yet suffering. So a lot of them understand it from different, way, but the teacher were able to, give her a clear picture of what you were trying to say. It's not about government coming to you and giving you money or giving you rights to eat. No, it's more beyond that, because if the like Africa, Liberia as a whole, it's not like America where you have, people who don't work, they can, survive on food stamp and other things, other help that the government provide for them. No, we have not reached, our economy is not strong to do that yet. So we are still struggling. So, but let us not, rush, and let us just dive into the topic. If you are joining the show, this is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Hit the like button, share the podcast, and be a part of the show. If you want to come live, send me a message and I'll send you an invite, and you're welcome to be part of the show. We are discussing, as you can see, the question is real on the screen. What is expected? We are all with that high expectation. We want to see a change in Liberia. We are all Liberian. Like me, I love my country 100%. Nowhere is like home. So I want to see if Liberia become better. It benefits me and benefit everyone. So we want to see a better Liberia. So Honor Josie Yuma Bwaka, what is expected? That inaugural address. A lot of time people make promises and say a lot of sweet and questioning words, but at the end of the day, you see nothing, come to realization. So we want to see a better Liberia. So join the show, be a part of the show. If you want to come live, let me know. I can send you an invite and you come on the show so that we can share our perspective when it comes. But we're going to go through a lot of things that is expected, that we want to see. That some of the things we want to share our own personal perspective. Growing up in Liberia, we want to see changes and things. We know the light, the light, the standard of living of our people, and we want to see that change over time. We want to see that change, as we look forward to the inauguration on Monday. So, first of all, when the election was, concluded, and then it was, we all saw that from the first announcement, second announcement, and the president, George Manuel Weah, conceded. So uh, on Bloomberg News, right, on November 20th, 2023, right, at about 12:21 p.m. Eastern Time, the Liberian president pledges to address economic hardship. The president pledged to address economic hardship, and then he promised, he promised to reunite the country and turn around and turn the economy, for the Liberian people, to end that citizen hardship. He planned to end that citizen hardship and unite people. And unity is very important. I would just tell you about a great country we find ourselves today. As much as America, you know, has a two-party system, Republican and Democratic, right? The people put their country first. So it, when I see, Liberian so divided because of some kind of greed or some kind of selfish desire, I wonder why. We are just small people. We are not any. America is approximately almost 500 million now. And you just, I think the last population I would check, you're not even 6 million yet. Then you don't want to unite. That's a problem. The country need to be united. That's what the president, his speech after he was declared a winner from the election, his speech was what? To tackle economic hardship and also unite the country, which is very, very important because unity play a vital role to recovery and prosperity. If you are joining the show, this is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. If you can like, share the podcast, and make some comment, I would highly appreciate. If you also want to come live, you are most welcome. Send me a message, and I will send you an invite so that you can come live and share your perspective on the show. So, as you can see, the topic is read on the screen. So, if you want to be part of the show, you are most welcome. So, we are discussing what do we expect from the inauguration that is scheduled for Monday. And I will just give you some information concerning the U.S. government own approach to that inauguration. So I'm just going to give you President Biden. President Biden announced, his dedication, people who will be attending that ceremony. So the ceremony is going to be held by the Honorable Lena Thomas Greenfield. We all know her to be the special representative, of the United Nations of America, of the United States rather, to the United Nations. She will be leading that dedication. But let me just give you some other names that will be included in that that dedication that will be coming to Liberia for the inauguration process. One will also be the ambassador. One will also be the ambassador in presence of Miss Catherine Rodriguez, U.S. Ambassador, and Honorable Stephen K. Benjamin, Assistant to the President and Senior Advisor to the President and Director of the Office of Public Engagement and Warehouse. The Honorable Isabel Coleman, Deputy Administrator of the United States rather, Agency for International Development. Then Honorable Joe DeVormont, Special Assistant to the President and Senior Director to African Affairs, National Security Council, the White House. These are the people who are special people who are coming to that particular ceremony on Monday. So it's going to be a high level ceremony, and we are happy to have these people. It is something that we all at Liberia should be able to embrace, that these people are coming, And you don't know, Liberia and America has a great tie. You don't know. There is a great tie. And you can never, break that tie, between Liberia and America. But Let's go along. I just giving you some other thing concerning the ceremony, and then we're going to go into some things that we expect to be in our speech, some of the things that we want to see for Liberia, some of the things that you and I, uh, we know that Liberia have suffered over time, especially that thing called corruption. Corruption. We're gonna discuss it and how can the president tackle this issue called corruption because it's a very very bad disease and it has affected the country over a long period of time. And we want to see that being tackled and being taken care of. Being just get rid of corruption. That's one of the things. If you get rid of corruption, you expect to see real development in Liberia. So we're going to dive into that. So as I said from the beginning, if you are joining the podcast, this is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. And just hit the like button, share the podcast. And also, if you want to come live, just send me a message and we send you an invite so you can come and share your perspective on the topic. The topic is right on the screen. What do we expect from our President Joseph Yumabwaka in his address on Monday? That will also reflect things that we want to see happen in Liberia. So come live so you can share your perspective and be a part of the show. This is your Rahim show. We are working, my team and I are working every day behind the scene to make this happen. So be a part of support. Your support is highly appreciated. Be a part of the show. Come live and share your perspective. No one is an island. We all here, to share something. We are all making our impact in this world. Trying to see better things happen for our country, for anyone out there. Share. Sometimes I come here and share some spiritual things to help edify people, to build people life. This is what the show is meant for, to, impact people out there. So be a part of the show. And if you want to come live, like I said, send me a message and I'll send you an invite so you can come and share your perspective. Before I go into some history, before I get into the real issue, I would like to say there is a new trend in project management called flexibility, implementation visibility rather. So, a lot of time people will give money, for project. You see the kind of development fund, you see, government, you know, receiving money from donor, receiving money for this project, for that project. And at the end of the day, I could tell Fenner Camper, at first when the Chinese people faced Fenner Camper, anybody who can recall, if you are Washington, Fenner Camper, they laid tie, and because they were, I don't know how they managed to come up with such a cheap project or so, because the money was available to utilize that money so that you can have a good structure. But they laid the tie, air went between the tie because they were done, because we Liberians compressed the budget just to satisfy some selfish desire. At the end of the day, all the tie broke for Fenner Camper. They had to redo it. So it tell you that it just tell you that once you have once a money is given to you for a project and you decide to not implement that project so that it can become visible. When they talk about project implementation visibility, it's where they give you a $1 million for a project. Do the project, you will still have money left where you can be able to eat, or you can be able to run in. But make sure your first priority is to make sure you have that project done and do it well. But we Liberian, we are noted when they gave us $1 million for the project, we want to spend 200,000 and eat the rest. It doesn't work that way. That is not project implementation visibility. That is strictly corruption, because the money were intended for project. It was not intended for you to eat a portion of that money. Do the work, and whatever is left, you can eat. Who does it? Let me tell you, all over the world there is corruption, but people put the country first. Put the country first, because go around the world. I being in Maryland here, having this live show. I go places. Sometimes I see a lot of things, and sometimes I see that my country too can do these things. I know Liberia can become a better place. And I always pray for Liberia. Even the president himself, I'm praying for him. Every day I'm praying for Joseph Yomabwaka because I want to see him do better and I want to see the nation rise up so our people can live, you know, live better, live a better life. As a standard of living, you see people living on not even less than dollar, but a quarter of a dollar. You know, it's awful. It's awful for somebody to live on 25 cent, 25 cent. You know, they don't eat, barely eat. So it's horrible. My family out there, if you're watching the podcast, this is a Rahim show. I am your host, Rackie Allie. Hit the like button, share the podcast. Want to be part of the show, you're welcome. Send me a message and I can invite you to come and share your perspective on the show. So the topic is right on the screen. What do we expect? You know, inauguration is next week. We want to see a change in Liberia. What do you expect? What should be embedded in that speech? And that will impact the Liberian people. It will not just be from the same or things we always hear, sweet words and sweet words and sweet word and sweet word, but no result. So we want to see a better Liberia. 6 year is not an easy year for a leader to rule. 6 year, it's a lot of time, and you can do a lot of things in 6 year. You can do a lot of things in 6 year. You can make your mark. You can set the record in 6 years. So we want to see a better Liberia. So be a part of the show. This is the Ryan Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Come on live so you can share your perspective. The topic is right on the stream, and we want to see a better Liberia. So I'm going to go into, some of the history, when Joia took over. So there were a very high expectation, including myself. To be honest, I wanted to see a change through Joia. Honestly, you know, no if and if about this. I supported Unity Party, but I wanted to see a better Liberia under Joia. Seriously, there were high expectations, very high when Joia took office in 2018. There was a very high expectation, and people felt that Joia would have, relieved them from poverty, and make the country better. But after few years, we could see that all of the promises during the inaugural address of Joia were just, things that were said, things that were said. But let me tell you, once you are a leader, those who you surround yourself with has. That's why when I was talking about your friend, who are your real friend? Sometimes let just connect a little bit with my previous topic the last time about who are your real friends. So the people you bring around you. So sometimes when the president is making appointment, those different cabinet, those ministers and so he got to be mindful because these people can actually mess up because they are the reflection of you. You appointed them. They should be able to follow. They should be able to, the vision you have. Like for instance, you have a vision like this, right in your hand. Gentlemen, I want to achieve these things. Who is with me? John Brown put your hand. Mary put her hand. This person put their hand up. Okay, they all concerned with the vision. But now, when it comes to the implementation, one person want to go his way, one person want. So at the end of the day, that affects the vision. So who you bring along with you to work has a major impact on the institution because you have a goal to achieve. The president Jose Yuma Bwaka, I guess his speech is already prepared. There are a lot of things he's going to say. There are a lot of things he wants to tackle. But these ministers and people that are being appointed to this position, they will have to align themselves with the vision of the president and make Liberia a better country. One of the things is to put measure in place. People have done a lot of things and go with impunity. When people steal, they should face the consequences of the wrong. There should not be any compromises. Don't compromise, corruption. That's one of the things that have affected our country. So if you want to be part of the show, come and share your perspective. This is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Hit the like button, share the podcast, and make some comment. So there were high expectation when Jovial took over. Very high expectation. A lot of people, you know, a lot of people we asked, some of us were back home. We saw that, when we asked some of the older people, like the old man in the market selling, she said, "Yeah, I love Jovial because I want to see the man here do something for, there were high expectation. People expected, him to do a lot for the country. But like I said, you know, people expected a good change. But I mean, the 6 year, that high expectation will not materialize. That high expectation will not materialize. So now Joseph Walker has the responsibility to do well, because now again the Liberian people are looking up to him. More Liberians voted for him because they feel that he has a good heart for the nation. Please, Mr. Yoma Bwaka, people are expecting Liberia to be a better place under your leadership. So I'm praying for you, and I know you're going to do well. So a lot of people expected, the 6 year under Jowiah, because I mean, believe me or not, a lot of people we ask when we're back home. Like I serve as a vice chairman for administration for the Nation Youth Council. A lot of friends now know me. Even Larama Newton. He's a great young guy, very intelligent, and I admire him a lot. So I'm telling you, we expect to see a better Liberia, and this is what we are trying to engage, in this constructive conversation so that we can see a better Liberia, because we want to go back home and see our country develop better. Who want to go back home and see Liberia stay the same? No. I mean, I don't think anybody in the right mind will have such a thinking to see Liberia just still being Liberia and no development. No. We have a lot of family. I have all my siblings, uncle, nephew, relative. A lot of my family are back home, and I want to see a better Liberia. So, you know, people were having high expectation, but after a time, there was a growing concern now. After a time, there was a growing concern, you know, on the Jowiala government, that instead of improving the people who elected him, living standard, people started suffering. A lot of things, the same things we never expected started happening, you know. So we want to see a change in Liberia. We expect to see a change through Jose Yoma Bwaka. So if you're joining the show, this is the Ryan show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie, and just hit the like button, share the podcast, and if you want to come live to share your perspective, you are most welcome. Send me a message, and I will send you the invite so you can be part of the show and come and share your perspective. So the topic is read on the screen, as you can see, if you're viewing the program. What do we expect? We want to see a better Liberia, and the inauguration is next week. We want to see what Joseph Yuma Bwaka has prepared for the Liberian people, and what we want to see happen. Not just every in because we have had inaugural address over inaugural address, but we haven't seen the real effect to make Liberia a better place. Liberia can be a better place, I tell you. If other countries are doing well, we can do the same. Let me tell you, there is no magic that other countries have played. They just put themselves in the country first. And that's why the president, after we are considered, the president addressed for what? To unite the country. It doesn't matter whether we have several political parties. It's about Liberia. Put Liberia first, and let Liberia be first, because we want to see our country first. If our country is better, I mean, we all benefit, right? It's not about the other party benefiting. The other party benefit. Like when Liberia is better, we all benefit, and it's something that is going to help everyone. If the country is better, if we have electricity, we have running water, we have a good school system, we have good security. That one of the things we have good security because a lot of time we see armed robber activity going on in places. We want to have a security that tackle these things. There shouldn't be anything like of that kind affecting somebody whom you got a lot of people have become zogo. A lot of people have become zogo. It shouldn't be happening. You should have a center where you train these people and reintegrate them into society and make them better, so that they can be they cannot be taking such a thing that make their mind. You don't have to do that. We need a leader that tackle this issue, because I tell you, the more you have this kind of life of the of people, the more likely people become criminal or engaging things. Because if the country doesn't have joy and things to provide for these people, a man can get tempted and do a lot of things. So we don't want to see Liberia, driven in such a way. We want to see a better Liberia. If you are joining the show, this is the RAHIM show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Hit the like button, share the podcast, and if you want to come live, send me a message and I will send you an invite. The topic is Red on the Strain. We are discussing what do we expect to see in the inaugural address on Monday, and what do we hope that will be, an important factor that will relieve our people. So be a part of the show. Come and share your perspective. Don't shy away. Come live and share your perspective so that we can help and make our country better. So a lot of people were expecting, uh, our president George Malawia to do more. I'm not saying the president. Let me tell you, I will be honest that Joe Weah did something. You can't tell me and say Joe Weah did not do anything out. He did something, but there were high expectation of him doing more because of the way our people have suffered. Our people being living in poverty. Corruption has been one of the real enemy of our society. Real enemies of our society. Corruption has eaten our country up. You will see somebody in office and they deprive other people, and they just want to, certify that they're better. They eat the money, eat the money. Then our people don't even get paid on time. 7 don't get paid. People work. How can somebody go to work and then the government owe them for 3 months? It's just unbelievable. You can't do that. You don't deprive somebody of labor. You don't do that. If you do that, it is a criminal in nature, and it's very wrong, to be honest. So if you are joining the show, this is the RAHIM show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. And hit the like button, share the podcast, and be part of the show. If you want to come live, let me know so I can send you an invite. So we are discussing what do we expect to see from the president-elect Joseph Yuma Boakai on Monday at the inaugural address, and what are the key components that will help to relieve our people. Our people have suffered a lot. So join the program and just come live so that I know we can share our talk, because we all want to see Liberia better. Honestly, I will have in the podcast. I want to see a better Liberia. If I see the better Liberia, the way I will be happy, very happy. I will come and go to my Grand Bassa County, sit down, my own man, prepare my domo, I swallow, and I receive my cold breeze on a cool atmosphere where nobody troubling me or nobody want to check my phone, nobody want to do this. That's the kind of Liberia I want to see. And I hope you all agree that we all want to see a better Liberia for every one of us. So we are discussing. So a lot of people wanted to see a lot of things, through George Mana. All man had high expectation. They felt that the life could be changed. And don't get me wrong, Joey, I did some work. He did some good things. I don't want to say things before people say you're being too critical about, Joshua. No, he did a lot of things too. But there were growing concern after some time. There were growing concern. Uh, uh, from the United Nations. From the U.S. Embassy decided, saying a lot of things that wasn't happening because, you know, if the country is not doing well, these people they have a big surveillance that monitoring you because they cannot be helping the country and the country cannot do well. Liberia Malay had to manage whatever resources we had, to meet the public need. Like I said, when I was growing up in school, that was what we learned. The main purpose of the government is to use the available resources to meet the public need. And some of my friends felt confused. They felt that, oh, so meet the public need, it has to do with the government providing me rights and providing me money. No, the government making school affordable, providing free education. These are all public need for the public, or reduce education, so so that people can afford, create job opportunity, create economic stability. All the things, these are things that affect, benefit, you directly and indirectly. So those are things that meet the public need. It's not about the government bringing money to your door. I mean, Liberia is not a rich country to provide that yet. So, join me on this show. This is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Be a part of the show if you want to come live. Send me a message and I will send you an invite. Hit the like button, share the podcast, and I would highly appreciate that. So a lot of people felt, that after 2, 3 years, they could not see the realization of that inaugural address made by George Manawia, because there were high expectations. So later on, there began a growing concern, growing concern. And I will tell you today that growing concern is linked to one epidemic, one disease that is called corruption. That's Liberia, one of Liberia's major problem, corruption. Corruption is a major challenge in Liberia. It can hinder economic growth and development. Corruption, it can hinder economic growth and development. For instance, like I said, you appoint people in different, like the president has appointed some of the ministers, and almost everybody is being appointed or so to serve in different capacity. You have ministry that really contribute to the economy, ministry that really contribute to the economy. Some ministry they don't contribute that much, but some ministry you got to be careful who you put there, because if anything goes wrong, it affects a lot of people. So some of you out there know the ministry that I'm talking about, because you can find that ministry. I would just name one. Some of the ministry that bring a lot of, you have places that the port, not it's not a ministry now, but the port of authority. If you have anyone who there, that place bring a lot of money to the country. So places you put people has a greater impact on the development, and the economic growth of a country. So you got to be mindful who you put in this, in these places. Who you put. These are people that have to have high level integrity, and they got to be trusted. People with very good background, not noted for stealing. You got to be careful. That's why it's always good to critique somebody's background before you place them into position. So it is very important. So one of Liberia's major problem that Joseph Boaga will have to tackle, that whenever he finished with that inaugural address, because I know a lot of things are there for the Liberian people, it's an issue of corruption. Corruption has eaten our country over a long period of time. And we want to see that thing called corruption being tackled, and tackled completely. You cannot eradicate corruption completely, yes, but you can be able to suppress in the sense you squeeze that corruption into a smaller, a bat where it doesn't spark, or like you notice the area there is a problem. The area, you see. So corruption go with what? Accountability. If somebody is found with if somebody is found being corrupt, they have to be accountable for their mistake. If you don't do that, then the issue of impunity comes in. And that one in Liberia, other problem too. People go with impunity because what? They steal money and they go to they protect themselves. Government say, oh, let have that pardon the person, they go and put it in something different. So you see, impunity is one of the things. But when people are found with found to be corrupt, you punish them. You gotta set us some kind of retribution for anyone who is found with corruption. Those are things that will help to stabilize the economic growth and the developments of the country. Because if you don't tackle corruption, it will eat the country out. It will eat. And Africa is noted for a high level. There is a survey done for the whole Africa. A lot of country is being choked with that survey because what? Of high level corruption. That's why you see an African leader want to rule until he die in the chair. He want to rule almost 20 some more year because of that greed. Greed. We don't want to see that happen in Liberia. We want to see a change. We want to see Yuma Bwaka tackle the issue of corruption. So if you are joining the show, this is the Rahim Show. I am your host, Rackie Allie. Hit the like button, share the podcast. If you want to come live, just make some comment as well. If you want to come live, send me a message and I will send you an invite so you can come live and share your perspective. We are discussing what is expected of that inaugural address that is scheduled next week. As we know, high level of dedication coming from the United States and other country. Earlier, I mentioned about several and four different person being, dedication that is representing the United States that is coming for that high level ceremony. And other countries also are sending a lot of people. We're going to go along and name some of those dedication. So if you want to come live and share your perspective, you are most welcome. Send me a message and I will send you an invite so you can come and share your perspective. We want to see our country better. The goal for the podcast is to just share things that we want to see happen in Liberia. And I'm sure you all will agree that we want to see a better Liberia. So be a part of the show. This is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. So we said corruption is one of the major problems in Liberia. And I tell you, corruption has eaten our country up on different front. On different front. And this is why we want Joseph Yomabwaka to be careful of who he appoints, in this position, in the different position. Because these will help to stabilize the economy and bring development. Because if you put somebody, for instance, if you put somebody who is corrupt and they eat whatever resources that the country should benefit, it help, let me say, it prevent things from happening. It become a blockage to real things happening. So we don't want that to happen. So we are going to go through, a lot of things here, and one of the things here is Liberia has been having the problem with corruption, insecurity. I mean insecurity in the sense that you know overnight we see things happening, places. A lot of time, even I think last year before last, the U.S. embassy put some warning on Liberia that Liberia wasn't that safe because of things were happening or so. So those are things those are red flag you want to take care of. Those are things you want to take care of because those things prevent investor from coming. If for instance, that's why I said Liberia and America are they're tied together. So whatever America say concerning Liberia security or environment, AFL Liberia, positive AFL Liberia in a way that you stop investor from coming because if somebody decides, oh, I want to invest in Liberia, but let me read whether Liberia is a better place, and they go and see something, a red flag about Liberia. Oh, Liberia is not safe. Be careful when you go there. It is a red flag, which is something that we pray that Joseph Yuma Boaka will be able to tackle because we want to see Liberia have a good record of safety, tourism. Investors can come, people can feel safe. Everything we want to see it better for our country. So if you are joining the show, this is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Hit the like button, share the podcast, make your comment if you want to come live to be part of the show. As you know, this is a new podcast, and we are having the subsequent live video to check our podcast. But in the future, we have a lot of people coming in I'm contacting a lot of friends and people, you know, meeting a lot of people so that we can make the podcast a brand that will impact our country. So if you want to come live and be a part of the podcast, you are most welcome. So in today discussion, we are discussing what is expected. What do we expect from our inaugural address, and how can it impact, you know, our Liberian people? Our Liberian people have suffered a lot, including myself. I want to come home and feel very happy. I want to come home and say, "Oh yes, thank God that we have good president that love this country, that care for the people. We have good security. We have. I want to see a better Liberia, and believe me, I want to see a better Liberia. And I'm sure you all who are watching this podcast want to see the same. So we are diving into things that will help, that the president should, all those speeches are good. Speeches are good. Although, I know he's already got his inaugural address prepared. There are a lot of things are there, a lot of ingredients or so, but we want to see a better Liberia. We want to see that not just these speeches, but a real happening, of things that will a reality, things to things that need to be done. We want to see it happen. We don't just want to see these whistling words, sweet words, and things. We want to see reality. Implementation, visibility, and we want to see all of these things, happening. We don't just want to see somebody say, "I bought a house." When you go look at a house, you value the house. If the $2 million was allotted for that house project, and then you go look at the house, that whole line worth 40,000. Where are the money? We don't want to see that. We want to see when things are intended for its purpose, they are used wisely. They are used, for the right purpose. We don't want to see somebody just stealing money and go with impunity. We want to see a better Liberia. So tune in. If you want to come and be a part of the show, this is the RAHIM show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. If you want to come live, just send me a message. I can send you an invite. Come and share your perspective. Liberian people are looking up to you to come here live and share your perspective. So as you can see on the screen, we have what do we expect next week? Our elected president Joseph Yuma Boakai, who have said after the Joe we are conceded, who have said his main purpose and focus is going to be unity. He want to unite the country, and he want to see how best he can tackle these things that have made his people to suffer over the years. Those are good things. We want to see all of the things happen. We want to see that he tackled corruption like we are discussing. Corruption is one of the major problem, major, or if not mean, but major problem of Liberia. And want to see all of those things being tackled. So if you're joining the podcast, hit the like button, share the podcast, and make some comment. I would highly appreciate. This is a new podcast, and we are coming on live each night to just test our podcast to make sure that it is working, because I tell you, in time to come we have a lot of people here sharing a perspective about things that we'll be discussing to impact our nation. We want to make an impact out there. We want to be a part of our society building, developments of our country. We want to see things happen. We want to also see our people, living a life that God has destined them to be. So a lot of things we're going to be sharing on the podcast. So be a part of the podcast and send your support. We will highly appreciate my team and I. So if you are joining, the topic is on the screen there. As you can see, what do we expect? The inauguration is right around the corner. It's next week. And a high level of dedication sent by the President Joe Biden, already headed by Lindsey Greenfield. So a high level that all the country, including different country, are sending high level dedication to grace that occasion to be part of that ceremony. So we want to see a better Liberia. And most of the country that is coming today, they want to see better Liberia. I tell you, they want. There are a lot of time we engage leaders that people will tell you, we want to see. There was a guy who I met. One time I drove in New York to pick up somebody on the airport, and he heard my accent. He said, "Where are you from?" I believe one of the African countries. Then I told Liberia. I said, "Oh, it's an interesting country." You know, I read about Liberia. I know they are tied with America. I heard something about America. I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh yeah, I did a study, and It's a very interesting country. It's just that he mentioned something that got me, shot because he said, "Oh, it's just that your leader has been a little bit, not doing better for your country." And I was like, how did the guy know? He's an American guy. How did the guy know that my leader are not doing well? So you see, a lot of people want to see a change. A lot of people know when there is a red flag and when there is a when the country is engaging corruption and then things are not going well. A lot of people know. So I mean, I was just able to talk to him. I said, but if you were a Liberian, what do you hope to see in Liberia? So he was telling me, oh yeah, I believe that country is just a small population. And the last time we are doing a study, he was telling me, the last time we are doing a study, you guys were like 5 million. I said, yeah, we were 5 million, but now we're not. And then he said, yeah. So it's a small country, so you guys can do well. He said, I read that you guys have diamond, gold, and other things. I said, yeah, we do. So he said he just want to see you guys, African Liberia doing better for the people, making sure education is one of the things, like we talk, about education in our discussion here. But he said education is one of the things because when people are educated and they are able to, go out, and do a lot of things, people are, able to. So much thing he talked about. So I was just so touched by the conversation he and I had, and I was so, blessed to have somebody who from different country just heard my accent and was able to have that time conversation with me, and he was able to tell me more about my country. So we all want to see Liberia better. We all want to see Liberia better. So if you are joining the show, this is the Rahim show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Share the podcast, like and share your comment. If you want to come live, send me a message and I will send you an invite. So we are discussing, as you can see, the topic that's on the screen. What do we expect? What do you expect? If you don't want to come live, but if you want to share your perspective, you can make that perspective in the comment section, and I will highly appreciate that. So be a part of the show. Your comment is also a way of supporting the program. So I will appreciate every comment, like, and share of this podcast. So we are discussing what do we expect from Jose Yuma Bwaka next week as he addressed our nation on that inauguration day when he will take the oath of office as a president of Liberia. What do we expect? Do we expect to see the same speeches we've been saying over time from Ellie, from this one, from that one? I have all the speeches here, but I could not, offload them because of the length of the speeches. But I will try to edit it so some of these time I can play those speeches so you can see some of the sweet things the ingredient the speeches have. But it's not just the ingredient. We want to see the realization. We want to see things happening so that Liberia can be a better place for all of us, including our children. And last time my daughter, asked me, said, Dad, you know, because the last time I went back home, she said, "Oh, you from Africa?" She was so curious, how the American uh, and girls, kids can behave. So now they ask too many questions. Oh, you come from Africa. So where do they do there? She asked me. I said, I'm from Liberia, and will go to Liberia. She said, no. I said, no, you're gonna go there. She said, no, I'm so you see, the kids, if we have a better society, obviously the kids will be they will be moved to go back and see because nowhere like home. My child, I'm from Liberia. My child can go Liberia and say, wow, this is a beautiful place that my dad is, come from. She can be, blessed by the development and the prosperity she see. So let's help to make our country better. But on the show, we are discussing what do we expect to see Yuma Walker saying on Monday, and how these different elements of things he's gonna say will have an impact to bring relief to our people because our people is a major priority. You know, he talk about unity, and he talk about why alleviating poverty because our people have suffered a lot. So how can the leaders alleviate poverty? What are some of the things you need to tackle? We said corruption is one of the things that have eaten our society. Corruption, and that corruption need to be tackled. And people who are found to be corrupt must face retribution. There should be a consequences for anyone who is found of corruption. Anyone who is found of corruption must face consequences. But if not, if people just go away impunity, I tell you, we're going to go back into the same cycle. There will be a government after government, government after government, and Liberia stay. We don't want to see that. Even America want to see a better Liberia. You think America will just be helping, helping with all that high level of dedication that they're prepared to send for that? They don't want to just be helping. They want to help a country who can independently do things too. No one is, it's an island. You need other country, but you don't want to just be relying, knowing that you have that, different resources that you can combine to and create economic wealth, to create stability, to create, job, opportunity, stability. People want to see better Liberia. People want to see better Liberia. So if you are joining the show, this is the RAHIM show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Hit the like button, share your comment, and also share the podcast. If you want to come live and share your perspective on the topic, let me know. I can send you the invite. So we are discussing what do we expect to see in that inauguration address next week, and what are the packages or the ingredient that will, revive our country to make our country better. So that is what we are discussing, and I want you to comment in the comment section, and also if you want to come live, send me a message, and I will bring you live. Yes, you can share your perspective and be part of the show. So you see, so we said corruption is one of the things that are eating Liberia. You know, eating Liberia, corruption. You know, it's one of the things that the president will have to tackle. You know, one of the things that the president will have to tackle. One of the things. One of the things. You see, uh, you see, between 1990 to 2000, you know, we said, oh yeah, we may blame on civil crossing and mismanagement. That was a projection. People were making, making shifting blame and doing things, and say, oh, between that year, all the leaders who were in, they say, oh, the country is just from 14-year war. This one, that one. Thank God for on milk. Thank God. And I always tell, people out there, on milk play a vital role in Liberia peace and security. And I want to say thank you to Omil for helping our country, for making our country secure, God first, but thank you for the role you play in Liberia. Today we don't have Omil. We have elected government after elected government. Why? Why is it our people are still suffering? Why is it that the market woman will go to market and your her or business can improve? She just said baple, 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 and when she go home, her children don't have school fee. For now, baple, can she pay her children's school fee? It's tough. School fees it's a school fee are going on, are skyrocketing. It's going up. You go to a school. I went to one of my school. Let me say, I went to my school when I went back when I visited my former school, and I was so amazed by the great developments, the school had, done, and the association, the alumni association, are doing an amazing work with the school system, making sure that, so a lot of great things are happening, but school fee now is high. It's high. It's not. It's unlike when our day when we used to look for like $3,000 for the whole semester. $3,000 is just quarter. It's just quarter. Like when they have a full semester and say, okay, this is the whole semester money, but they break it down into four different, parts, and they want you to pay this one, that one. So $3,000 is just one of those parts. Imagine that. So if you talk about school fee for just a semester now, It's almost like 20 to 30 thousand dollars, Liberian dollar, which is too much for a woman who's selling the market and sell her baple. Small, it's a lot. How can somebody selling baple? The whole market money is like $200, and she managing to sell just to provide food for she and her children. How can that woman raise money to pay her the Lord's son school fee? No, it's hard. So that's why when you have a society that is stable, economic development, you have, and the government is able to infuse money into the economy where, you know, all the school, can make impact in the sense that like private school, you don't have to, government have school system where people are not paying much. Somebody can pay, like $200 for a semester. Obviously, private school, because it become competitive. Government school have very renowned teacher, and those teachers are teaching well. They are not accepting money for grades because all of the things play a all a role in making people. There are a lot of people who graduate, with that thing called BSc, and they cannot, defend. I tell you, defend a lot of things at the lane. You know, it's amazing that one time my professor, management professor, shared something with me. He said there are two kind of BSc in Africa today. You have BSc and BS0, and I was like, What are you trying to say? He said, yeah, because you look at somebody who said they have a BSc, but they cannot prove to. So you see, so a lot of things go wrong once the country is not stable. Once a lot of things start to go wrong, a lot of things happen. So we don't want to see this thing. We want to see economic recovery. We want to see development, and want to see. So most of the people felt between 1990 to 2000, the country had gone through 14 years of crisis. So they were making that exception. Oh, we've been through this. We've been through this. So government of mismanagement. They say, oh, this destroyed the economy because of war, infrastructure, and capital. They want all that kind of thing. They say all of the things. But are we still in 2000? No, we are talking about 2023. Imagine since 2000, you have added 23 more years to 2000. So there might be a change. You can't keep making blame on, oh, yeah, like Benchu, they don't like Benchu. No, you can never do that. If you keep doing that, we will always go back to the same story every time, and we'll not see a development in Liberia. If you are joining the show, this is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. If you want to be part of the podcast, send me a message, and I will send you an invite. Share the podcast, like, and make some comment. Share your perspective in the comment. I would highly appreciate it. And we are discussing what do we expect the inauguration of next week. I supported Joseph Yuma Bwaka for one reason because I really see that he can do better for Liberia, and I know that he will not fail me. And I know and I believe that's why I'm praying for him to appoint people who will work with that vision that he has for the country. That vision. Every leader has a vision, but that vision can die when you put wrong people into different positions. When you put wrong people around you, they can corrupt you. And at the end of the day, that whole vision die, and that plan you have for that country also fail. So I don't want to see Jose Yuma Bwaka fail. I want to see a great Liberia where I can feel free and go anyhow and feel happy, to go back home, feel excited when I see my country better. And I'm sure you all who watching the podcast want to see the same for our country. So tune in and just look on the screen. You're gonna see the topic that we are discussing. What do we expect to see uh, the inauguration address? What are the ingredients, and how can these ingredients play a major role for our people in Liberia? So join the podcast, like, share, and be a part of the show. So, like we said, most of the time our leader, will say, "Oh yeah, there was a 14-year crisis between the time, so it affected Liberia economy. So we are taking our time." But mind you, it was between 1990 to 2000. You know, anyone who viewed that time could allude to that particular thing. But now we are in 2023. Can you tell me 23 years after you are still making that you are still making that assumption and saying, oh yes, this is what happened, so we are trying to do some recovery? No, I tell you, we need a better Liberia. We need a better Liberia, and I'm sure that we Liberians are expecting, we Liberians in the diaspora that voted for you, Joseph Yuma Bwaka, we want to see a change. We supported him because we know that he able to transform the country, make our society better. You know, most of the things that we are discussing today on this topic, on the show, these are vital things, vital things that the president might address to be able to put our country into a place where we all feel, we can have a better society and a better nation. If you are joining the podcast, this is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Hit the like button, share the podcast. Like I said, this is a podcast that is coming your way. We have so much in a long run that we're going to be discussing, but we keep having these video after video to just test our podcast to see whether it is ready for our panelists that will be coming to the show. If you want to be part of the team, and send me a message and I'll send you an invite so that you can come live here and share your perspective. We are all making, we all have a role. We all have a role to make our country better. I know most of you might be thinking, oh, I don't go by Liberia. I haven't been Liberia. You are a Liberian. Nowhere is like home. Go back. You know, pray for your country and also be a part of the process. Help. When Liberia become better, it affect you and I. It has a greater effect on us. I mean, somebody will ask, what kind of effect will they have if the country become better? You can go back home. You feel free. You can wake up in the night because why? You have security. See, so it helps. It benefits us when the country become better. If Liberian become better, you have sibling there, you have brother. You can tell me no Liberian being in the diaspora say they don't have a parent or they don't have a friend or don't have no family in Liberia. Nobody. You have relative, if not all your sibling, your one of your nephew or your cousin that you send money to. So if they are being affected, they also have a impact on you. So if the country is better and they are enjoying, it help. You will not be sending money, like you used to send. So, like we gotta hope for the better, on this president, and that's why we are discussing. What do we expect? There are a lot of times inaugural addresses can have a lot of ingredient, but are those ingredient are going to be a reality? Because people will say a lot of things. They will say, "Oh yes, I will tackle corruption. I will make sure if one of my ministers or one of my a director or somebody is found with corruption, they're gonna go behind bar, 25 years. Are they gonna do that, or they're just saying it all the emotional sentiment? So we want to see a better Liberia. So we want to see a better Liberia. We want to see Liberia being a better country, a better country. You know, like corruption can also undermine public trust in government institution and reduce foreign investment. Corruption can undermine public trust and reduce foreign investment because, like, if you see everybody doing what they can do, stealing, there is no public trust. But if you punish somebody for being corrupt, and that man was making an attempt to do something, he knows that he himself, if he does that, he will get punished. So he afraid. You create a positive, apprehensive, situation. You know, like you create a positive, apprehensive situation. You know what I mean that what I mean by this is like somebody who wanted to get into certain evil or dubious act is aware that whenever he does that, something is going to happen to him. He and family going to be affected. They're going to be evicted from wherever. He's going to go behind jail for 25 years. His family going to, whatever, government going to take everything. Government going to take everything. So with that measure in place, you make people afraid. So you create a positive, apprehend, sure, where people can feel arrested because what when they do wrong, they can go to jail. So if you are joining the show, this is your Rahim show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Hit the like button, share the podcast, and share your comment as well. If you want to come live and share your perspective on the show, we are discussing what do we expect to see Jose Yuma Bwaka inaugural address is going to be like. Some of the components and things that are all ingredients part of that speech are they meant to help Liberia, to shape Liberia destiny, or to make Liberia a better country? That's what we are discussing. And I'm going through a lot of things that has affected our country and what was the expectation that our people had on we are government, and what led to the failure, what led to the frustration of our people. And today we have a newly elected president. I'm praying for the president. I'm praying that he does well. Whoever he appoints in this different area, they will be able to align with the vision that he has for our country. And if they are found with corruption, they should face the necessary consequences that comes. So join me on the show. Be a part of the show. This is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Come and share your perspective, but not forget to like the podcast, share your let me say hit and share your comment, and then share the podcast as well. So let's go into some other things here we have to share. So so someone want eyes. Okay, our people have suffered. How do we live our people from poverty? You know, that was a question somebody asked me. You know, saying you were talking about a topic about what do I know some of the ingredient in that speech that the presidents are already prepared for the inaugural address are going to be a lot of good things for our people. But how do you tackle the issue that that lead our people to uh, uh, living on higher poverty or so? So that was a great answer. Somebody once said, lifting more Liberia out of poverty requires greater public and private investment in activities that create jobs. You know, when people are working and they are getting paid on time, it helps to boost the economy. One of the things that I love about this country, America, right, is the fact that one thing is called dignity of labor. Dignity of labor, it's very. I don't care how much you can be in a higher position or so. Somebody who is a custodian, you have to respect everybody work. Everybody work is highly respected in this country. You don't look down upon anybody. And the reason I'm saying this is because I want to come to what I want to say and want to really the picture that I want to drive at you. So when people work, they get the paycheck. You will not see an HR saying that, oh, for this reason you are not getting your pay, because there was a snow or there was this one or the government. No, you will not see as though the company denied the one. No, you will never hear such because that person have a big case and they can sue that company and that company can pay a lot of money, just on that 1,005 or 2,500 paycheck that you have refused to give to the person because the person worked. You don't do that yet. So we don't want to see that happening in Liberia. So job is one of the key things. Create more job. And he said, like Liberian, living more Liberian out of poverty will require greater public and private investment in activity that create jobs, and improve human capital. Yeah, this will this will be investment in health, education, access to water and sanitation, rural roads, market, agriculture productivity, improvement, and etc. These are all major things, and I'm sure that these things are also and ingredients in the inaugural address on Monday. I'm sure these are some of the ingredients in that speech. Create job, create job, improve human capital, improve human capital. So we want to see a change in Liberia. We want to see a better change in Liberia, and we are hoping to see that our president, you know, will be able to make our country a better country. Hold on one second. I think I got a guess here. Let me see. Okay. He hasn't joined yet. Okay. Uh, I'm having someone who want to join the show. Like I said, this is the Rahim show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. Like, share, and comment on the podcast. If you want to come live, send me a message, and I will just send you the invite so you can be part of the show. Um, that would be so great if you want to be part of the show. Um, I would highly appreciate that. So, as I was saying, we want to see a better Liberia. We want to see, better Liberia for not just, people who live in the diaspora, but our people who live right there, who took, their time to register to vote, who took the time to stay in a line to vote. You know, these are people whose life might be affected first. Their life might be affected first. We are not saying go and give somebody money or go and bring food for somebody. No, like bro, I'm tired of just getting rest and people just using food to to confuse the minds of people. No, we want to see things change, and we want to see a better society for our country. So if we want to target why our people are living below standard, these are some of the things. It requires greater public and private investment in activity that create jobs. You have to create jobs and improve human capital. All of these things, especially investment in health. We don't have a good health system. We don't have a good health system. We want to see we want to see a better health. We want to see a better health. We want to see a better health system. We want to see a better health system. We want to see a better health system. Like one of the problems that I get with some of the ministers that I see today, who uh, there was something called fatality mortality, right? I think there was a question when Amara Conan was in Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government at the time. There was the same question posed to him. Okay, I got a guest here, and let me just welcome him. Okay. Wow, my friend and brother, I'm happy that you were able to survive that snow and reach home safe. Welcome to the
Well,
show. You're welcome, man. So, well, I think you've been listening to me while you were driving along, and we are just,
well,
discussing. As you can see, the topic on the screen there, we are discussing what we expect to see for our inaugural address, and what are some of the ingredients. Because we noticed that most of the time, these speeches, they are sweet, but in reality, when a leader comes to power, they do different things, and that can lead to our country going back to the dream, and our people, suffer, and we don't want to see that happening on this particular president, and we also said that this president has a vision, and that vision can only be achieved with the people that he appoints, into different positions. And mind you, there are different areas in government that that bring money to the economy, because like some ministry really contribute a lot. Some ministry don't bring a lot. Some ministry bring a lot. So these people who are appointed to these kind of places, they have a vital role to play on a Liberian recovery. So welcome to the show, and I'm just gonna get on mute so you can share your perspective, and I'll be happy. Thank you.
Well, my greatest pleasure, firstly, making my debut appearance on your platform, and yeah, if something hasn't happened, all we can do as people can be very optimistic, which we expect to be the incoming government. We expect that considering where the incumbent took us from and where we are with Ambassador Boaka being somebody who I would say long to obtain such position, and it has finally come to fruition for him. I am hopeful that he has been doing all he could to prepare himself for this day, because the time is now. I am, and most know that the last government was nowhere in my liking. I didn't like the administration led by the president that I thought was very inept, a president that won't speak to national issue in timely fashion, but instead goes to one church and use the pulpit that should be used for delivering the message of God to spew gibberish most times and to counter people who he has problem with, which is in my purview is very wrong. So I think Ambassador Boaka should be ready for this movement, because the government that we just had was a bad one. So we hope to see something better. That's why we throw our weight behind the opposition, which happened to be him. Like I always tell people, I had three people among the top opposition candidates that I was supporting heavily. Ambassador Boaka, Mr. Cummins, and Councillor Gonglo. I think those, in my purview, those were the strongest of the opposition candidates to unseat George Weah. And Ambassador Boaka happened to have won the liking of the Liberian people, and I would say the timing of the Liberian people choice, and then we went with him. So yeah, I hope he's prepared for this moment, because the country must be salvaged. There's a lot of work to do, and I'm hopeful that he has prepared himself greatly to take on this Herculean task.
Thank you, my brother. That was so powerful. I like your perspective. Like I said, you are always welcome on the show. So we noticed that one of Liberia's major problem has been corruption, and we all know what corruption does. Like most of the ministers that are appointed, like I said earlier, most of the ministers that are appointed, because the president might have a vision, and that vision, people that align with that vision can make that vision a reality. But when people go different, then that vision become just a people, But then in reality, they are the same people who elected these people in position now become the victim. So we don't want to see Liberia going that trend, So what do you think, that Boaka can do to address the issue, the epidemic, because that has been one of Liberia's major problem, corruption. It has eaten our economy. All these things can affect economic growth, stability, and our people suffer a lot. So can you just share a little perspective about what Joseph Boaka can do to tackle corruption? Thank you.
That's a good question. And while we are at it, let me acknowledge my friend and brother, childhood friend, Fua. He's watching, and another guy is watching you from Liberia. Vanning Gaul Senior is watching you from Liberia. Back to the question. So here's the thing. My dad, who is a very learned man, happened to be a counselor at law. He said these words because he's nowhere on social media. You'll not be on social media. So he told me when George Weah was elected, he told me, we're having a conversation, and he told me the only way somebody like a George Weah who have had a impactful government in Liberia, considering his limitation, everyone knows George Weah is extremely limited. So the only way he would have had an impactful government void of a lot of corruption, which we saw in his tenure, the last 6 years. The only way he have done that would have been if he had people on his side, meaning his employees or his government ministers, directors, and mayors, whatever, that were honest people to work for the Liberian people and George Weah. Then we have had a good government for the last 6 years, which is true. Because let me put it like this hypothetically: say a finance minister Samuel Tuer goes to a George Weah and try to explain a ledger of a whole city or something of that nature. George Weah is not going to be able to relate to that. He doesn't have that level of comprehension. He doesn't have that brilliance. He doesn't have that understanding. But if Samuel Tuer is an honest person who was there for the Liberian people, for love of country, he would have done his job diligently, put the country first, and work exceedingly hard and do the right thing. Then the image, the reflection trickles down to the government, trickles down to the image of the president George Weah. But he did not, unfortunately, he did not have that. If you are Rahim and you have a particular gift and you ascend to a certain position, the people you put around you who have the know-how for other things that you are limited with in terms of the knowledge, they need to be honest with you and the job for you all to succeed. If they are not honest, like in our case, Samuel Tues and whether it's the Bill Twaways or whoever, the way they were dishonest to the Liberian people and the way they massively looted our country, you're never going to do better. So that was just something that my dad threw at me. So the entire time of this George Weah's government, I had it in the back of my mind that, yeah, this is so true. If George Weah happened to get people who are really diligently working, he will be able to impact the country. He will do some good things. But if you have a bunch of criminals and thieves, you're never going to succeed because you yourself, you do not know much. If they bring something fraudulent to you, you cannot decipher it. You cannot draw a line to know what is real from what is fake. They just print, say something that costs $1,000 to buy, they bring $5,000 to you. If you don't know better, you're just going to ink your name to that. Boom. They go and purchase that item, $1,000. They pocket the $4,000. So that's the case of Liberia. But this government that is coming in, we need to see honest people that will work for the country and will work for the incoming president, because other than that, we are going nowhere. But with this government, there's something I want to tell you, Ryan. I expect this government to succeed and do better to outperform George Weah's. And it's simple. George Weah government, they did not address national issue and things that were unfolding in the country that people had problem with. They will not speak on it. Like, people are dying. We have a rice crisis, and the president of the country leaves the country and go to watch soccer game and overstay at the soccer game. I mean, come on. How much more can you be unsympathetic and be, lacking in terms of care for people? There's nothing wrong with him going to see his son play soccer. You and I, we are avid sports fans, especially when it comes to soccer. We are avid lovers of soccer. But the way in which and the length of stay of the president was very insensitive to the struggle and the plights of the people then. Very, very insensitive. And I don't care who you are, if you have common sense, because I would tell people common sense trumps degree and education. Common sense. And a lot of people are lacking in common sense. You cannot have common sense and tell me a president should have left his country over 40 days while they were in a crisis to go and do something like watch games. That is so unthinkable. Nobody can comprehend that with a good head on their shoulder. So those are the challenges. So I expect, in any way thing goes, I expect this government to do better than that. I don't see how a Joseph Boakai son, let's take for instance, Joseph Boakai, hypothetically, one of his sons who happened to be somebody who I went to school with, Tenten, he's a musician right now. Let's take for instance, his career kicks off and he get invited to perform at a major concert in the United States. We just throwing a hypothetical scenario. And Joseph Boakai is very supportive of his son because everyone liked their child. And he happens to get invited to the USA. And the concert is, let's say, 2 months long. Joseph Boyka may come and be there for the opener when his son performs, but there is no Liberian today that can tell me Joseph Boyka will stay for 2 months while his son is at a concert in the United States because it's big for his son is very important in his son's career. No, he's not going to do that. That is so unpatriotic for a president to leave and Joseph Boyka to leave Liberia and come to the US to see his son in a major concert for 2 months. And where more, let add on the fact that there was a crisis. Our staple diet, rice, our staple food, rice. We had a rice crisis in the country, and Joseph Boyka came to watch his son perform in a musical concert for 2 months. Unthinkable, unthinkable to say the least. And then people will want to give such a man a second term. I mean, the nerves. There are people in this government who were supporting George Weah, and when we interact with them, the level of interaction, we could tolerate them. And there were some people who we played sports with and we grew up with, the way they conducted themselves with this past government when we were trying to speak reasoning to them. We were just forced to get rid of them on our major platform like social media and stuff. Like the friends that I got rid of because of that, because it doesn't make any sense. Why will you be in a crisis with your major food, and then the president leaves and go and watch soccer for over a month? It's understandable if he goes there, but that length of stay is just too long, and it's just too unthinkable for anyone to not have a problem with. So yeah, such was the time, and we had to do what we had to do. So I just had to throw that out there so you know that this government coming should do better than George Weah's.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for your perspective. To just say something to that about why our president had to go to that football game and stay there that long time. Well, every leader has an advisor. To see that people who advise the president will allow him to stay, a leader of a country. I mean, go to East Africa and see other things, how people need power. Then a leader leave his country. Somebody's going to take over straight. Liberia should be blessed during that time while the president was not, there. Somebody didn't act to do anything to take over the country. So Liberia was blessed, and because our people too need peace and they want to enjoy, because they know that the things we've been through as a people, we don't want to go back. That's why we are having a high expectation to see that this man, Joseph Yuma Boyka, he has the ability to change the country. And we are praying for him because we want to see a better Liberia. And like I said, you and I, we are in the diaspora. We want to go back home and feel, oh yeah, this is our country. Go to Bassa, my Oma there, my internet face on Domo, Aswala, and I feel free. I can move about without nobody, coming to harm me at night. I can chill. And that's how we want to see Liberia. We want to see a better place, But let me throw this to you too and hear your perspective, right? So there's a statistic that says 50 to 60%, of our people in Liberia, live below the poverty line. And I know you will agree, to that. So the rising cost of basic commodity today, it prevents family from meeting food. Things are hard today. I've been in Liberia 2 years ago when I went to go start my late project or so, and I could see that 10 president that I knew, to see U.S. rate up to, I think, 170. When I was there, it was 180 for a dollar. It never happened when I was there before I could come to America. So to see that the U.S. rate is so high, one gas, you got to get like $750 or $800 to buy gas. So that tells you that somebody who is selling a plate, like I was giving an illustration, somebody who is selling, an old man who is selling a plate, and that woman got 3 children. What would you expect for somebody selling plate to pay her school fee? It's tough. And then to just, connect to what I want you to, understand and also share your perspective. Our country, out of 180, Liberia ranked 142 in the corruption perception index. You know, it could slide back to, into chaos unless the next leader takes serious action. So, what are the serious action that you expect? Because all of these things that we are talking, it just boils down to the one epidemic that we talk about: corruption. When you have corruption, the old man who's selling by play will still continue to sell her by play, and she can't afford her daughter school fee. So, what are some of the serious action? Because like I talked about, earlier before you could come in, right? I believe there should be a measure if somebody is found to be corrupted, they should bear the necessary retribution. Because if these measures are not in place, people go with impunity. Somebody can steal, and they leave that door with no, jail or sentence on there. They feel free. And maybe after some time they go back to the library, just feel they're free, or so. So, what are the serious measures that the president will have to, lay down? That, oh yeah, if you are found in this particular act, because like you and I are discussing, right? We know that the president, George Manuel Weah, the people he brought around him, they advised, because to leave the whole country and come to America to watch football game and stay for that longer time, it doesn't even make sense to me. Why would a leader just leave a whole country knowing that he's in charge of a whole nation and come and stay all that long? I'm not saying don't come and watch one game and go back. That sometimes happen. A leader can go. The France president went for the final. President can leave a duty to go watch the final. There's just an hour and a half. He flew back, back home. It can happen. But I'm not saying leave your country for almost a month, or you don't do that. It doesn't make any sense. So what this Joseph Boakai, what are some of the measure and things that he has to take to be able to be behind these ministers and people that he appointed to this specific position to actually fulfill the vision of making Liberia a prosper country, a better country for the woman who is selling by play, that will be able to raise money to pay her son or her daughter's school fee. Thank you.
Yeah, when it comes to this whole past government, look, somehow we already had the foresight that under no circumstance the kind of person George Weah has been over the years that he could have made himself a good president. Like, I just knew when he put himself out there uh, for his first term against Madam Ellen. I was in Liberia. The first program they had, it was at Maria City Hall. But then I was a practicing journalist, so I attended that program as a reporter, and I'm looking at George Weah, because don't forget, by 2006 he was nearing the end of his career, soccer career going down, and I had seen what he had done with the Liberia national team, because I was supposed reporter. I saw how the team denigrated right before our eyes, how divisive they were. He had his own group with James Salinsa Diba having his group, and they were so divided as a team. And I'm looking at like this guy who is running this national team as a technical director, pretty much. He was the captain, technical director, and this team is so divided, and we are with them firsthand. It's not like somebody on the outside. When they play game, I'm sitting right there with everybody. I'm talking about not like average game when we would play Cameroon when they had Song and Ito and them. I'm carrying the game on television, and I'm sitting there with them through or talking to everybody. And I know how they were divided on camps and stuff. And then this man want to put himself out there to be a country president when he cannot manage a team with at most 20 players. You cannot manage a team to be in a unison, but you want to be a country president of over 5 million people. So I'm like, it's not going to materialize. Just logic tells me you're not going to make a good president. So anyway, fast forward to today, he has proven to us he was never going to be a good president, because for you to be a one-term president where we from, it speaks volume. It tells you did not do well. Considering your background, you are easily the most popular person in the whole country. For which reason the people gifted you power? George Weah won convincingly when he won Ambassador Baka then. For him to just do one term and get booted out by the same Ambassador Baka tells you he underperformed greatly. So, having established that this is where we are, so we just have to live with this, and we pray that the incoming government have learned a lot from that government and what all they did wrong, and do better than them. Look at a man like the sanctioned Nathaniel Fallow McGill. Yes, a man who built a mausoleum. Look, there are very wealthy people in America and other parts of this world that will just have a decent, good burial for their parent that they love greatly. There are people who even they are rich, very rich because of their inheritance from their parents. But when their parent died, they just give him a decent burial. But Nathaniel McGill, he built a whole mausoleum. That thing is a whole mansion all by itself for his mother. No one say you don't like your mother, but why would you wish the conscious fund doing that? When you were not in that position, you think you would have done that? Everyone know the answer is no. If McGill was not occupying the position he had, then he wouldn't have built that mausoleum for his mother grave. But then they take state funds and they just use it any way they feel like. Look at the like of Akara grave. You came from nowhere, push your way through, went to University of Liberia, ate at 404, where people they downtrodden eats, them downtrodden masses where they eat. You ate there, you become a representative, and then you leave all those people that were with you in the struggle. You go and have your wedding in the great Paris, the most beautiful city in the world is Paris. You go and have your wedding there. You leave all the people who should have been involved in the ceremony to share in your happiness. So, and then you after that to further magnify what you did, you went to the University of Liberia and you challenged the students. You challenged the people who have the votes, and you go in the campus and misbehave. For which reason you got booted out today? So that means there are plethora of wrongs those guys in George Weah government did. We can go on and on and on with the lack of corruption built two ways. And Samuel Tue, the man kept Samuel Tue in one position for 6 years, although the Liberian people were consistently making outcries for Samuel Tue to get either rotated or sacked or something, or recall whatever you may, but just do something about the position he's occupying. You do nothing about it, but allow him to sit there because your limitation, you keep him there for 6 good years, and then you think it's a miracle that you lost to Ambassador Barker. No, it's not. Your incompetence, your ineptitude is what led to your defeat today. Very inept government that George Weah led. And like I said, this government had every reason, granted what they saw from George Weah, to do better. And I hope they will do better because we've put ourselves beyond this government, and we hope that, for things unseen, we hope that it outperforms we as government.
Thank you so much, and I like the way you address the Akara great great things. I mean, when we say, I mean, what is the name of you going to have a wedding all the way in Paris? When the Liberian people are here who voted for you, I mean, out of flamboyant, what are you trying to prove? What is it you trying to prove? You know, but we all saw some of the pitfalls of this particular government. We saw some of the things they did. And I tell you, some of them were just using the president to accomplish their selfish desire, and we could see that. And that's why we are praying to see that change in Liberia. We are praying to see a better things happening for our country. But let me just ask you the last things then we can wrap up the show because of time. I know you and I got to go to work tomorrow. So like I work tomorrow morning. So in 2002, right? In 2022, rather, the U.S. government, suspend three Liberian officials, three officials, and impose also sanction on these people for corruption and refusing, let me say, and abusing state fund. We all know these three people. Uh, so, and then there is something called an strategic, industrial, transparent Transparency Initiative standard procedure. The president himself, faced serious criticism for refusal to declare assets upon taking office, and violating that particular Liberian, they call it Liberian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative and a standard procedure. That procedure is intended that before you come to power, just for some transparency, because a lot of leaders will come to power, still stay firm, and then just go after they have left power, they are rich for life because what they took advantage of the government resources and just enrich themselves. So that was why that particular standard was set for. And your man refused to declare her asset on that because he took power. He refused, and they alone tied to the issue of corruption because if you as a leader not taking that step, obviously, you are also part of why the corrupt society that affect our people and affect the country. So, these are the official, like I said from my beginning, that we have a high level of official dedication. Biden has appointed 4 different special people that are coming to grace that inaugural program, right? And why am I asking this? I'm asking this because in 2022, the 3 top official, were sanctioned by the government. So Joseph Yuma Bwaka have to be careful because if what goes around comes around, because if you don't do the right things and you have people to now taking advantage of the situation, most likely because Uncle Sen is always having their surveillance, monitoring things in Liberia, because no one won't be helping country, then people, the common people are suffering, and then some people are just there enriching themselves. So, what would you say to Joseph Walker regarding, such instant, like how we are, because of, I must say, complacency, or he himself is not, trying to do the right thing, or so that, allowed the U.S. government for putting this, measure in place to sanction these officials, because it could probably be, happen to any leader who failed to do the right thing, and that people, engage in, malign activity or so. So, what is your advice to Joseph Yuma Bwaka as a president who is going to take over our country and is official, so that they can be watchful of similar things not happening, because of them, being in the same art relative to what happened, yeah. So share your perspective, brother.
So here's something I want you to think about, and in Liberia who see this podcast, I wanted to think about Charles Taylor. Charles Taylor came to prominence through a war, a civil war, right? Charles Taylor became a president, and today Charles Taylor have less people during his tenure as a president sanctioned by the great United States of America compared to that of George Weah. So that tells you how bad George Weah governed Liberia. A man who was a rebel, let me not polish it, a man who was a rebel became a president, and you have less people sanctioned by America than your government. So George Weah government was just a mess. That's one of the reasons why I told somebody the other day, think about this. The great athletes that America have put up and how wealthy some of them are. I'll give you scenarios. Shaq O'Neal, the former NBA player who everyone should know around the world. Shaq O'Neal holds a legitimate PhD degree. Shaq O'Neal holds a legitimate PhD degree. And because of the internet's age, anybody can look this up. Serena Williams, the great Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Michael Phelps. There are a plethora of athletes who are extremely wealthy, who are Americans, that you cannot open your mouth and think that if you think about it, that America will just look at today and say they want to run and they stand a chance of becoming president, which make sure we are the case of Liberia just unfortunate because our level of reasoning and the percentage of literacy in our country. That's why somebody like a George Weah had the opportunity to be president, whether you like it or not, is the reality. Shaq O'Neal declared to be president with a PhD today. He stands little to no chance of becoming president, at least to say Michael Phelps or Tiger Woods or whoever, because the people society, they are very educated and very literate. At the very least, in the United States stand just around 97% literacy rate. So you're not going to just have somebody just come out of the blue because they have funds or they have popularity and America make them president. So that's some of our biggest problem, where we are, So when you think about that, it brings me into Josh Weah's presidency. So it's not much we cannot say, about where we are as a nation. And so the guys who are sanctioned under this government led by somebody who did not know any better, we just have to be cautious because we look up to America for a lot of things. And you hear people who are limited say, "Oh, America, this, America, that." America is easily the biggest donor to us, so they will always have a say in our political lives. They will always have a say. They will always have a strong say because they are very much tied to Liberia, which is a good thing. You can say what you want, but where your money is, your mouth is going to be there. That's why they are in our political life. So it's just unfortunate that we have these guys sanctioned. But the good thing here is, President Biden understands. He's had meetings. He's met with the incoming president Joseph Boakai, and there is a change of hands in terms of state power. So I know he'll be able to work with us, knowing that these guys were sanctioned during the very inept government of George Weah. So I sure President Biden will work with this government, and things should go pretty fluidly because he understands this is a new government, and Ambassador Barker should be able to handle things with America pretty smoothly, considering the level of understanding and what he's seen. He was a vice president before he came to the great United States with Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. They know the rapport with of Liberia, so he should just build on that and just make things easy for himself. I don't expect any differently. I don't expect her to have a tough, patch with America because they understand these people. They are in government. They're elected, for instance, like McGill. He's now a senator, but McGill was sanctioned during their government, George Weah's government. So America understands, President Biden understands that, look, he's serving a position that Ambassador Barker has zero influence over. If your county elects to make you a senator, there's absolutely nothing Ambassador Barker can do about that. It's the people who are in that county that elected to make you their representative as a senator. So he has no control over that. And the American people understand that, like I just told you earlier, our people level of reasoning. Because you and I know, if you were working, hypothetically, if you were working, my brother, if you were working at Taco Bell and you stole a meal and you were caught stealing a meal, you are not going to get a job like that so easily, not at least to say at that height of the country's power. Then for somebody who was just sanctioned to be made a senator, it's not going to happen in places like America. You see the kind of thing people lose their jobs for in America. The people are very firm, like the same thing I just said. The level of comprehension, the level of reasoning, the level of understanding of issues is so high. So you're not going to get a man who is sanctioned to get a job like a senatorial post here. But it happened in our country because why? Obvious reasons. Our people, the level of discernment, the level of understanding of issues. So we just have to work with what we have. Liberia, like we always say, Liberia is all we have. And we have to keep, that's the reason why you see all these different outlets and platforms are popping up on social media, because a lot of Liberians who care, they are now finding reason to enlighten our people. And this is all this is. All you and I doing here right now, we are enlightening our people on how things should be and how things ought to be in a structured society. We're not saying that things don't go bad in structured countries like America, but on the overall, the good outweighs the bad. That's all we're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you are absolutely right. Liberia is all that matter, and we are having the different platform today, on social media to see our country better because we have seen a lot of things goes wrong in Liberia, and we don't want to see that repetition keep happening for our country because we know that a lady who sell baple want to raise money to pay her son or daughter school, or daughter school fee as well. So it's always good to have you here, my brother. I was so blessed to have your perspective share. I know the viewer out there, if you're watching the show, this is the Rahim Show. I'm your host, Rackie Allie. I'm being joined by my own friend and brother who have come to share his perspective. And okay, you got something to say? Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, yeah. In conclusion, I was just going to add to you, my brother. This has been a fun show. Your setup is great. I remember the first day when you came on, you had struggles with your microphone, but you've made a lot of adjustment over time. All I can tell you is, we will talk behind the scenes because there are things you can do, to just make it better. Because we all strive for the better.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You can never be
absolutely. Yeah,
complacent. You can never be so satisfied with where you are. We always trying to be better than where we were in the past and where we are. We try to get better. So yeah, there are things that we can talk about, and we can hopefully look. Trust me, if things get on its right footing with your show, there are people. I was in the media before, and I have some really good friends that I can pick up the phone. Like, if I pick up the phone and call Senator Abraham Darren Dillon and tell him I'm on a show and it's the time that is conducive for Liberian time, if I tell him I'm on a show, I want you to make an appearance, you can rest assured he will come. So we just have to do what we need to do on our part
yeah,
first. Then we can start to get in people to chip in. I mean, whether it's from a senator that we know, or from another major platform that we know, we can bring people in and out to come and chop it up. Because at the end of the day, this is a good thing that will help Liberia. These are platforms that are really waking our people up, like you saw during the election. If it wasn't for the like a spoon, maybe a lot of people's views will not be heard to change the mind of our people to vote the way of
absolutely,
Ambassador
absolutely.
Barker. The media is a very powerful tool, and we are using it in our own meager ways, our own meager resources to better our country, and it helps a lot.
Yeah. Thank you very much, brother. So like you said, the Rahim show is always open to a different idea. Like you said, this is a platform where more people are welcome. It's something that when I started in the infant stage, I was experiencing some technical issue, but I keep working to improve things, like you said, and I'm happy for your support. And also, if you have anything to help the platform and make it more vibrant, people to come up, we can have, because my plan here is to have a long panelization, that we can discuss issue to just uplift our people and just spreading our in the minds of people out there and let them know that we all here want to see Liberia a better country. Not only issue of Liberia, but other things too that help to contribute to society. So before we wrap up, and so what would be your message to the young people out there, people who are watching this show, and what would you say, to edify their mind, just words of encouragement for our younger people and those who are watching the platform also as well.
So, this is my uh, conclusion here. To conclude, I would say, we have to be steadfast. This is a incoming government that I personally look forward to all things being positive, to do better by our people. We didn't put our voices out there to see the same thing that happened in our terrible government repeated. We want to see things better off than they were in the past. And how can that be done? We have to get involved. We have to open our minds. If you are opportune to work with this government, if you are caught on the wrong side of things, or things were not going right, be open to constructive criticism, because they will come. There are people who are heavily opposed to this government. They will have their say, but as long as it's constructive, we can work around it and better ourselves. The ultimate good here is our country. So we have to do all we can rightfully to get our country back on its right footing. Because if we don't do that, Liberia is just gonna go down the drain. We have to get better. Look around us, my brother. You were in Liberia. If you say you were there like a couple of years ago, then maybe you were there like 20 or 21. I was in Liberia 2019. The last time I was there was 2019. And when I left from Liberia 2019,
2020,
I
2020,
okay,
I think 2020, yeah, 2020, yeah.
right. So I was there 19, so I was there the year before you. But then when I went to Liberia, I went to Cameroon, I went to Benin, I traveled to a couple countries. Then I came back to the US, and a year ago I went to East Africa. I went to Kenya and Uganda, and I'm looking at how those other countries they are evolving, and Liberia being so old. We need to evolve. We must evolve as a country, and
Yeah, that's true.
what more
That's
can we
true.
hope for as a country? So I just want to say thank you for affording me the opportunity to come on and share my thoughts with my fellow Liberian. And it's a good thing to be a part of our country. That shows that we are very patriotic when it comes to Liberia. Because if we didn't like our country, hey, a lot of us we are doing pretty fine, in the diaspora. We wouldn't be there talking about a country that we are millions of miles away. So
Yeah,
once upon a time, the other day, Samurai he inboxing because I got some friends in the CDC. That one made our country's CDC government was so intricate. So Samurai inboxed me, you're like, man, legend, why you always writing so hard against our government? So I said, my man, nothing can stop me from writing against the government. Just chopping up with him. Then he said, my man, you oversee. You need to relax yourself and enjoy your hustle. I said, that statement cannot hold water. Why? I don't care how far I am from Liberia. You cannot erase the Liberian in me. So forget that part, and we chuckle over it. Like I said, there were people who were in the higher ups in this government that I was friends with, in as much as I was opposed to the government, and we still were cordial toward each other. And there were other people you just could not tolerate, like the like of the assistant state minister. We played basketball together. Porter and myself, my Porter and myself, we play basketball. By Porter, I would be commenting on Spoon or one of them shows, and he would call me and be the legend. He calls me all the time. Legend, bro, you are back at it again. Chill. I will give you some hints about what actually happened. And I say, okay, I will take word for you. They put manager of Buchanan, Sevika Basikia. He's my good friend. When he was here in the US in the last summer, he and myself, we spent the entire summer together in Minnesota, and we had a major soccer tournament there, East and West tournament. So it was just a tough road because we have friends on both sides of the spectrum. But at the end of the day, we were doing it for country. I cannot let my love for my friend to supersede my love for Liberia. That should not
yeah,
happen. No
that's
intelligent
true.
person should do that. That's why I have a problem with a lot of people who allow their love for George Weah as a football player to trump their reasoning for love for country. Because if you have love for Liberia, you can see why George Weah was a one-term president. He was not a good leader, not by any stretch of the imagination. So we'll conclude on this, and we look forward to coming back and sharing our thoughts again, my brother.
Thank you so much, my brother and friend, for taking off your time to be part of the show and share your perspective. You are always welcome on the show. This is a show where you are most welcome. And to our viewer there, thank you all for taking off your time. And I hope you share this podcast and also make comment and be a part of the show if you want to come live. And just send me a message and I will send you an invite. Until then, good night, everyone.